Hi Karina, just taking a look at some of those other emails that we need to check. You've been working on this one, the HPC submission comments. We've probably got the enrolment one sussed. We skipped over this one, so what I want to do is just talk very briefly about this. This is really quick, and we've got these two down here. We've got this other interesting one here, which seems to be in row 7.5. I've got row 7 and row 8. I don't have a number there. So I just want to explain this one, and this one, and hopefully give you a steer on how we're going to do that. Now the good news is that this one is even easier than I think the other ones you've been working on. I will just explain what it is and where it appears and how we switch it off, and then you can have a go at switching it off if you like. It is a flick of a switch. But just to put it in context, these green ones that I've done have been similar. In other words, I've simply switched them off, not by changing any code or installing any plugins or anything like that. All I've done is I've done it by switching capabilities, and we can do the same thing here. Let's have a look first of all at what this email actually is. And to see that, I'm going to visit the home page, and I'm logged on as Chloe at the moment, and you'll see I'm in staging. I've got a bunch of evidence submissions, and if you remember, the evidence submission process for ECEs is a two-step one. They submit the evidence, the HPC reviews it, and they refer it to the assessor. Now what the situation at the moment is that in order to refer it to an assessor, I click on it, I check this box here, and then I save it. And checking that box has two impacts. The first impact it has is that it will turn the link blue, as we've seen. But the second one is that it currently sends an email to the assessor, and that email is that email just says ready for assessment, and it will state the organisation and what's the other thing, the assessment, the award. So what we need to do is basically disable that email. So we want to remove that. Now very briefly, I will just spend 2 seconds. I don't think you need to make any code modifications here, but I will show you how that code works. Basically, if you look at, if I click on here, you will see that this screen is managed by a script called Moodle Report HPC Homepage ECE Grade. So this script here is actually in the HPC homepage, which is another plugin. And if we just take a look in that script, and I have it, just make sure I'm in the right place. Yep. I'm not going to go into detail, but basically when you submit it, it will check to see if that's been checked. If it has been checked, it will call a plugin called Assign Submission Assessor Notify here. So there is yet another plugin to deal with these assessor notifications. It's not a big one. So we'll just nip upstairs and see where that is. And that plugin is in Mod, Assign Submission, and there it is, Assessor Notify. Now, just a little trap for young players here. There's another one here in feedback called Notify. That's not the one we're dealing with. That's an old one. We can probably get rid of that at some stage. But in any case, this is the one that we want, Assessor Notify. And if we look at the lib there, we'll find that it's very similar to those HPC comments that you've already been working on. In fact, I think we created this as a copy of that. We just took a copy of that plugin to get this one, or the other way around, I can't remember. So, like that one, we've got an add function, and the add function will be called whenever we check that box. And what that does is it goes through much the same thing we did with the HPC comments, and there is a line here, 217, where it checks a capability, and we can see there is the capability that we need to check. So if that capability is enabled, it will send this notification to those users. So this is really a bit of an aside, because I don't believe that we need to make any code changes for this one. I think we just need to unset that capability for whoever has it. So let us check. Let us go in and just check those capabilities. So let's go back to log out. So, bear in mind, going back to our capability model, we have these various contexts, and we need to check that it's been set or unset in those contexts. Site administration. Okay, the key thing here then, we need to check that that capability is unset for all the contexts for which it's that we're going to be applying it in. So if you remember, just go back to the chart there. We've got system, course category, course, and so forth. Now if this is set, it will be set at system level. So let's define roles, and the roles that we need to check are probably the assessor role, and I think the easiest way to find the capability is to just type part of the name in and do a find. That's what I tend to do. And sure enough, there it is, Hart Foundation Assessor Notification Kinds, and it's not actually set here, so that is okay. I guess the easiest way to do this is simply just to prohibit it, and you may recall that what that will do is it will prevent it from being used either at the top level, the level that I'm at the moment, or any context level below that. So that's probably the easiest thing to do there. So we go down and we should be able just to save the changes there. So that was the assessor role. I think the other ones we need to do are, you don't need to worry about the schools assessor, because this only applies to ECEs. This will never be triggered for ECEs, so HPC and assessor. Find, and we'll find this again, and we'll prohibit there. And that should do the trick. Who's getting it at the moment? We're just saying it's just looks like just the assessor at the moment, so we don't need to worry about these people. It's just really, I probably didn't need to worry about the HPC assessor, but it's just that. So merely switching that capability off should remove that. The only other thing to note, I've done it with a blunt instrument. I've done it by prohibiting it. If we were being a little more elegant, what we do is switch it off. So I've prohibited it at the system level. I can also switch it off at the course category level. If you remember, these will cascade. What I've done is absolutely fine, but if I was being neat, I guess I would say, okay, go into this category here, go into the permissions here, and it will show me the permissions for this category. It looks like there's no one specifically. Oh, it's been switched off already. There we go. This is staging, by the way. So just to show you what we would do there, I've done this in staging. Might be an idea if you were the one to apply it in production. So if you feel comfortable with that, I'm more than happy for you to do that. Yeah, just I'll leave that with you for now. If you need any help, just give me a yell. Okay, so the other one is this one here. Now this is a pain in the neck because when these are graded, Moodle itself handles these. Moodle sends it to the email address, so our organizational email, it already sends it to. What they want to do is switch those off and have them go into the contact email instead, which means a little bit of coding, but I think not too onerous compared to what you've already done. So removing these is easy. We looked at just switching capabilities off here. We can just remove these. There is a setting in the evidence submission which can do this. Now, so I don't want you to worry about that because I can show you at some stage, or I can do it. That's a flick of a switch. These are the ones that are that we need to think about. Now, the business end of this, again, this is an event trigger. So we have in lib, we have an event here. I'll just go into our events, sorry, in LBH Structure DB events. So we've got submission graded, which calls local LBH structure submission graded, pretty much as we've already done, as we've already seen. So I'll just get back into lib, and submission graded does a number of things. Don't worry about this. This is my test diagnostic, so ignore that. It reports to the CRM, and then it calls something called send grade notifications. Now, at the moment, what that does is it sends the notification to the HPC here. We want it to also send it to the contact email address. So if we go into send grade notifications, we will see that it does a bit of work. It gets the HPC, it gets the assignment details, all of that stuff, and at the moment it does send assignment notification just to the HPC. So what we want this to do is, sure, keep sending it to the HPC, but we need another piece of code there to also send it to the contact email address there. And that's the same for schools and ECEs as well. And I think by analogy with what we've already done, we should probably create the capability to support that, and you know, in exactly the same way as we've done with the other notifications, we'll have a capability called something like can receive grader notifications. I tell you what, yeah, okay. I think the message that, okay, let me pause for a moment. I'll give you some clear guidance on that one. Hi, Karina. Sorry, I just need to pause a moment to think. I think what we need to do there is create a completely separate notification for the users, so that will be a separate capability, a separate string in the string file, in the language file, and you know, a separate message altogether there. So that should just involve creating, as you've done for the other one, a message, an entry in lang, en, local LBH structure, and so forth. So very similar to the work that you did with the enrollment emails, I think. And once we've done that, we're pretty much there, I think. we've also got this interesting one here. Leave that one with me. I'm not quite sure what it means, and I need to check, so I'll get back to you on that one. Other than that, I hope that helps, and yeah, give me a yell if you have any questions.